on this dark and stormy night. Let's gather around the campfire to hear special stories written by yours truly from centuries long ago. Bring snacks and sit tight because you're in for quite the adventure.
So you were the first to hear about my novels as an up-and-coming author. Here's the first book. It's called Drawing Passion. Drawing Passion, author and illustrator, me. To my family, mom, dad, sister, and grandparents. This is a story about Skylar Corey and her drawing passion, fictional. Chapter 1, bored. I could be playing outside on my trampoline, doing flips and aerials, but no. This week of summer is just rain. The only thing I see is a pencil and a blank piece of paper. No. Just no. That's some top tier writing over there. I'm not drawing today. I suck at drawing, and I always will. So never make me draw. Fine, I'll prove it to you. My circles are never perfect. Okay, maybe just a little tree. How about a few more trees? Okay, now a sun. Actually, I'm sorry. No, it's Actually, let's draw snow. And okay, maybe drawing is a bit fun. Just a bit. Nothing more. It's not like I like drawing or something. Girl, what is the character even trying to prove? It's okay to like drawing, but it's just a creative way to express your thoughts. It's cool. That's all I have to say. Other things are better than drawing, but it's cool. New York Times bestseller, put her on. I think I will kind of get used to this thing. This could be my hobby. Maybe in the future I'll be better, but right now I'll just walk away and get some papers, like 1 or 2 or 5. Yeah, that will keep me going. Wow. Wow. This is already so riveting. I drew a little picture to show like what I drew. I think I tried purposely making it bad, but it's not even that bad, so. I never really realized how good I was at drawing. Okay, humility. Well, I thought I did worse. Honey, ready to go to the fair? My mom announced. I remember the fair. I was waiting years and years for this day because I'm finally old enough to go. No thanks, Mom. I'll just stay home. I blurted out. I could hear the sounds of the stairs creaking as my mom tiptoed upstairs. Is there anything wrong? Are you sick? You've been waiting for years until this day. No, Mom, I said. I want to stay. Okay, now go, I exclaimed. But I'm so confused. Did drawing really impact me like this? My mom looked over to my drawing and immediately switched from a happy face to a disgusted face. Are you kidding me? You would rather skip the fair because of drawing? You're being so lazy. What even is the point in that picture? Just some trees and snow? My mom announced. Then she took my drawing, crumpled it, threw it on the ground, and walked away. I was so confused. It's like I did something wrong by drawing and truly knowing what hobby I really want. But the main thing I was thinking about is if my mom has the right to do that, or is it wrong if I stop her from crushing my dreams? Is she doing this for my own good? I don't understand. I think the right thing to do is to roll into a ball and hide in my room forever, right? And then that was it, guys. That was my debut novel. Everyone should get a copy of this, I think. I've never seen anything like this before. Like, never. That was my first book.
You thought it was over.
Fast forward a couple of years, especially during the COVID era, I wrote more stories on Google Docs.
Police! Help!
The Stalker. When was this made? Silence. I love starting off all my stories with just one word. That was the strategy I used. My eyes scanned the dark room as 3 loud booms filled the unsettling queue of quietness. As each one went off, my breath grew shorter as I squirmed for mercy. My lungs could barely retrieve any oxygen. I tried to cry for help, but all that could come out was a faint hum. Wait, why is this kind of good? In that moment, I felt like a vulnerable teen. What does that even mean? Why did I act like such an easy target? I was irritated by the duct tape on my lips, and the rope tied in my hands felt somewhat loose. With the tiny amount of energy left in my body, I forced my two hands apart. Snap! The rope got set free, and my hands felt retrieved from the tension. When I was a little girl, I always dreamed of becoming a pop star. Every time I saw artists performing on television, I could always see the passion in their voices. I have always been left with awe. And that was it. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but honestly, I kind of ate with the intro. This is where you kind of start to see my improvement in my writing. So this was also during the COVID era. My dad and I, we started working on a novel together because we wanted to publish a novel. Yeah, I was 12. Like, we were serious about it though. This one it's called EFG. I forgot what that even stood for, honestly. Butterflies invaded Veronica's stomach as she examined the note that appeared on her desk out of nowhere. She frantically ran her fingers through her tousled black hair as she read the message over and over again. Help me come back to Earth, Ron Ron. Also, that is not referencing Ron Ron, like the Merrill twins. If you know, you know. But Veronica shot her "get your butt over here without erupting the volcano" glance to Alina from across the room. Out of the corner of her eye, she observed Mr. Waddle lay dormant, entranced by his crossword puzzles and half-eaten salami sandwich. Alina gave her a thumbs up and slowly exited her seat. She was about to break commandment number 1 of Mr. W's classroom. Thou shalt not leave thy seat unattended. Read the note, Veronica whispered to Alina as she approached her desk. Veronica grasped the paper with her thin brown fingers trembling. Puzzled, Alina paused before answering. Sorry, V, I don't see anything written here. Veronica was about to respond when the volcano erupted. Mr. Waddle shot out of his desk and pointed a meaty finger towards the girls. His beady eyes widened as little bits of salami sprayed from his mouth as he bellowed. Another class disruption? You two can head on down to the principal's office. Veronica and Alina picked up their books and walked out the door. This was already their 3rd visit to the principal this semester. Sorry, Alina. Alina pursed her lips and wiped the brow of her freckled face. I thought that note would be super important, but it's only a blank piece of paper. She then flashed Veronica a stern look with her hazel eyes. I don't get it. The girls reached the principal's office and Veronica pulled out the message as they sat down in the waiting area. It still contained the message she read before. She showed the message to 2 boys seated nearby. Neither of them saw anything written on the paper. You probably think I'm crazy, Veronica sighed as she clutched the note. Yes, but I came to that conclusion about a few minutes after I first met you, Alina said as she nudged Veronica. Besides, I wouldn't use that word now. I'd say you're very unique. Really? Veronica responded as a smile descended upon her face. And where are you on the uniqueness spectrum? Alina returned the smile. I'm slightly unique. Both girls' laughter was interrupted by Principal Hawk's door swinging open as he motioned for the girls to enter his office. He was a slender man with a weathered face. His attire was trapped in the 70s and his hair looked like a bowl of spaghetti gone astray. Mr. Waddle told me what happened, Mr. Hawk said as he scratched the back of his neck. The girls sat silently. He has 0 tolerance for interruptions. He runs a tight ship, you know, Mr. Hawk said. Veronica imagined Mr. Waddle at the helm of the Titanic, crashing into an iceberg with swarms of students screaming on the sinking vessel. Mr. Hawk momentarily stared at the girls as he pondered his options. This is the 3rd time here for both of you. I'll have to call your parents. It's my fault, Veronica blurted out as she looked at Alina. I called Alina over and got her in trouble. I interrupted her from what she was doing. Mr. Hawk looked at both girls before picking up the phone. Then I'll start with Veronica's mom, he said while dialing. As he began talking to Veronica's mom, Alina urged Veronica to show Mr. Hawk the note. She shook her head, carefully folded the note, and put it in her pocket. Mr. Hawk then hung up the phone. I just talked to your mom, Mr. Hawk began. Let me guess, she'd given up on me, Veronica said sharply. Not in so many words, Mr. Hawk responded softly. Well, I've given up on her, Veronica said as she grabbed a book from his shelf and propped it horizontally on his desk. There's a wall between us. She placed 2 pens on either side of the book. When did this happen? Mr. Hawk asked. 4 years ago. Mr. Hawk paused and rested his chin on his hand as he carefully returned the book to the shelf. Maybe you should see a counselor. Veronica took the book back from the shelf and put it the way it was before, but this time with a slight thud. Maybe Mr. Waddle should see the counselor. A piercing pain shot through Veronica's almond eyes toward Mr. Hawk. He sighed and dismissed them. It's almost time for lunch, girls. You can go early. Veronica and Alina made their way to the cafeteria. Okay, tell me what the note says, Alina asked as they found a table to sit at. Veronica took out the note and underlined the words as she said them. Save your brother. Alina squinted, but still saw nothing. Must be about Jesse, Alina responded. Yes, but why now? Veronica's voice became softer. He passed away 4 years ago. Alina put her hand on Veronica's shoulder. How did you get the note? It appeared on my desk out of nowhere. Veronica's voice began quivering. There are too many questions, Veronica continued. Like who wrote this note? And how can I save my brother? Where is he? When am I supposed to meet him? Veronica's mind was racing 1,000,000 miles an hour. The lunch buzzer rang and students began pouring into the cafeteria. Tell me, my smartest best friend, where do I start? Alina managed to smile. Well, you're gonna have to ask your dumbest best friend then, because I don't know. Both girls laughed, and Alina looked at Veronica with a furrowed brow. Are you discouraged? No. I was 4 years ago, but things can't get any worse than that. Maybe I can have a little hope after all. Now we just need to find someone who can help us find the answers we're looking for. I think I have an idea of who that could be. Alina looked beyond their table through the crowded cafeteria to a table in the corner with one lone occupant. Seated there was a mammoth figure, ornamented with piercings and tattoos. He had spiky blue hair and was currently wolfing down an extra-large portion of mystery meat lasagna when Alina pointed him out to Veronica. No way! Veronica gulped. I've heard rumors that he knows about other worlds out there, Alina prodded. So you want me to approach the most blood-curdling, intimidating student in this school? Do you want your note to remain a mystery forever? Veronica took a deep, heavy breath to compose herself. She then made her way across the cafeteria. She had only taken a few steps before tripping on a discarded styrofoam cup and face-planting onto the cafeteria floor. Chapter 2. Also, guys, it wasn't really me who wrote it. It was literally my dad, and he wanted to be, I guess, a ghostwriter for me. Yeah, I didn't contribute as much to the story, so if you're wondering why this is good, it's because I didn't write it. Chapter 2. Nobody believed Jesse when he had told them that he had seen the sun. Tell us about that yellow ball of fire in the sky, they would say. And no matter how many times he would tell them, they would always laugh. So this sun, which is millions of miles away, is powerful enough to burn your skin? Some people's skin would burn, he told them, but his dark skin would protect him against any burns. Again, they would laugh. After all, nobody there would be burnt by it being only a few feet away from a fire. Laughter was a precious commodity in Block 9. As a result, Jesse became very popular amongst everyone there. They would often gather to hear his fairy tales of mystical people called farmers. They would have trees in which you could reach out your hand and pick out a fruit of your choice. The land of Jesse's fairy tales had some of the animals found in Block 9, such as wolves, bats, and owls. But it would also include bright colors. Jesse also told them that on several occasions he would even see a rainbow. Block 9 was blanketed in exotic shades of gray. Colors were limited. Anything that stood out was often stolen and sold on the white market. It was always nighttime in Block 9. There was just enough light that came from the 3 moons to help navigate the streets if they did dare to go out. The fog swirled on the ground and made it difficult to see the rats scurrying about. But not all places in Block 9 were dreary. Moonlight Drive held a special place in Jesse's heart. When he first came to Block 9, he wandered about for several days, cold and hungry. He was only 9 years old at the time. Those he met looked similar to him, but were very different. Yes, they would eat various types of meat, and could even eat some fruits and vegetables grown indoors using heat lamps. But it was rare to find a friendly face, until he met Jasmine. Jasmine found Jesse curled up near a fire on a street corner 4 years ago. Exhausted and shivering, she brought him into her house at 95 Moonlight Drive. Her mother fed him owl stew and a cup of warm wolf's milk, which instantly revived him. It was a place he felt safe. That night, and every night for the next 4 years, they would have their evening ritual. Meet at the fireplace for dinner and recount the experiences of that day. The Hobarts made every effort to welcome Jessie into their home. For the next 4 years, Jessie would join Jasmine in school. They would learn subjects similar to what he learned while he was in his city. However, he noticed something peculiar as time went by. He grew taller and stronger, and his voice would change, but nobody else grew older. They would change their hairstyles and clothing. They would get cuts and bruises that would gradually heal. But nobody grew taller, and the older people would stay older. Jessie observed some people die along the way, but it would usually be accidental or violent, as in a fight. Jessie enjoyed the times he had with his adopted family, but he longed to go back to the life he had in his city. But how could he get back? He was trapped in Block 9. Every day he would go to school searching for any way out. No one had visited Earth, and as a result, he was stuck. Until one encounter with his science teacher. Mr. Grimwald was not your typical science teacher. He had a distinct limp and scraggly hair that looked like he had been struck by lightning. After class, he took Jessie aside while the others were dismissed. "You don't want to be here, do you?" Mr. Grimwald said. "No, I like your class, Mr. Grimwald," Jessie replied. "That's not what I meant. I mean Block 9. Mr. Grimwald's eyes looked intensely at Jessie. "Yes, I mean I'm grateful for Jasmine and her parents." Jessie paused as he searched for the right words to say. "But I'm not from here, and I'm sure you know that." "A comet is coming soon," Mr. Grimwald said. Jessie rubbed his brow. "What does that mean?" "It could be your chance to make it back to your home." Jessie felt a mix of both hope and confusion shower over him. "How is that possible?" Mr. Grimwald walked over to the chalkboard in front of the room. "Once every 4 years, a comet passes over Block 9. Mr. Grimwald picked up a piece of chalk and continued to explain his idea to Jessie while writing on the board. "It gets close enough that it opens up a portal to enter Earth. It's dangerous, and there's only a short window of time, but you can make it through." Jessie's voice sped up. "Wow, then wouldn't thousands go through?" "No, the space is limited. There's only room for one, or possibly 2. "If you know about this, why didn't you try before?" Jessie asked. "Believe me, I thought about it," Mr. Grimwald responded. "But it's only possible with help from the other side." Mr. Grimwald paused. "If you're interested, we can talk more about it tomorrow." A warmth surged through Jessie's body. He ran home as fast as he could that night. That was chapters 1 and 2, but that's not all. We wrote until chapter 5, bro. It is your lucky day. You're getting 5 free chapters of this unreleased book. Chapter 3. A dozen eyes peered over at Veronica as she nervously picked herself off the ground. "That didn't happen," Veronica said as she tried to hide her embarrassment with a giggle. As she got up, she dusted off her shirt and approached Liam's table. Alina followed behind her. "Are these seats taken?" Veronica asked, pointing to the chairs across from where Liam was sitting. "Yes," Liam abruptly responded as he continued to eat his lasagna without looking up. Veronica looked at Alina. They both sat quietly as Alina opened up her lunch bag. "I have French fries and onion rings." Alina offered Liam a fry. He hesitated before accepting one and began slowly eating it. Veronica opened up the note and slid it on the table in front of Liam. He looked up at her as Veronica locked eyes with him. "We need your help. Can you read this note?" Liam took an onion ring and popped it in his mouth without responding. Veronica hesitated slightly before continuing. "Listen, I don't blame you if you think I'm crazy. Everyone thinks it's a blank note except for me. But we need to know where this came from." Liam continued to stare at the girls as he took an onion ring, dabbed it into some ketchup, and shot it into his mouth. Veronica awaited a response from Liam. She glanced at Alina before responding. "Okay, I get it. You don't want to talk to us." Veronica and Alina got up from their seats. As they began walking away, a faint response came from the table. "Are you Ron?" Liam said in between French fries as he pointed to Veronica. The girls made a quick turn and speed walked towards Liam. As they sat down, Veronica made a fist and thumped the top of the table, nearly causing Liam's drink to tumble. "I had a feeling you could read that note," Veronica continued on. "I'm sorry, I didn't introduce us. I'm Veronica and this is my friend Alina. Ron is what my brother called me. In fact, he was the only one to ever call me that." Veronica paused before continuing. "So, how could you read that note?" Liam studied the girls' faces before responding. The inviting almond-shaped eyes of Veronica and the warm smile of Alina gave him confidence that they could be trusted. "I'm not like you," Liam said in a hushed voice. Alina was the first to respond. "Of course, we know that. You're senior guy, No," Liam interrupted. I mean, I'm not exactly human. The girl's mouth dropped. Liam took a deep sigh as he collected his thoughts. The only ones that can read that note are the recipient, he said as he briefly paused and pointed to Veronica, and those from the other worlds. The girls looked at each other with puzzled excitement. Veronica began speaking with a raised voice before Liam gestured her to keep quiet as he looked around. You mean you're from the other world? Veronica whispered. Yes and no, Liam answered. I was born here, but my parents came from there. We call it Block 9, but for you, it's the other world. Liam continued eating the onion rings and french fries as the girls waited for another reply from him. Veronica nudged Liam as her eyes widened. So, your parents are ghosts or zombies? Liam looked up at the ceiling as he thought deeply about what Veronica said. They're not really ghosts in that they have physical bodies that need food, and they can experience pain and feelings like us. Liam hesitated briefly before continuing. But they're not exactly human either. Veronica fixed her eyes on Liam. So, do you think the place they came from is where Jesse is now? Possibly, Liam replied. I mean, that note did come from our people. Veronica looked at Alina as excitement rushed through their veins. She then looked back at Liam. Can we meet your parents? They could be the key to me meeting Jesse. What are you talking about? Liam asked. Veronica paused as she collected her thoughts. Jesse died 4 years ago, and now I got this note. It's got to be from him. Liam looked at the girls sternly as he looked around and lowered his voice even more. Nobody knows that my parents have come from the other world, he said as his eyes penetrated Veronica's. Their lives could be in danger if the wrong people find out who they really are. He nervously fidgeted with his drink as he continued talking. I think I made a mistake telling you this. Disappointment crept into Veronica's face as she made a plea. Please, give us a chance. Liam briskly scratched his head as he pondered what the girls had told him. Okay, I will ask my parents, but I'm not promising anything. Yay, Veronica replied as he held out her hand for a fist bump from Liam. He awkwardly hesitated but eventually lifted his hand. Just so you know, anything we talked about doesn't go past this table. Is that clear? Understood, the girls said in unison. Veronica then wrote her phone number on a napkin and handed it over to Liam. Text me if your parents are cool with the idea. Liam nodded as he took one last swig of cola before the bell sounded. The girls and Liam then got up and left in opposite directions as they waved goodbye. As they continued walking, Alina nudged Veronica. Good job, she replied as they approached their lockers. So, are you gonna tell your mother? Veronica gave a heavy sigh and didn't respond as she retrieved her books for the next class. Come on, V. You have to talk to your mom sometime, Alina said as she tried to read Veronica's face. Veronica remained silent as she jabbed at her hair with her brush. Hurry up, Alina. We'll be late for class. Veronica shut the locker and walked towards class, with Alina following behind her. She then turned to Alina as she caught up to her. Do you think Liam will text me? I have a hunch he will, Alina responded as they reached the classroom door. Oh, by the way, are you ready for your presentation? My presentation? Veronica hit her palm against her forehead. She had totally forgotten about the talk she was about to give the class. She swallowed hard as she opened the door. Alright, last 2 chapters, let's go. Chapter 4. The scent of roasted wolf meat filled the air as Jesse bolted through the door of the house. He saw Jasmine and her parents warming up near the fireplace as her father read from a book. What can you tell me about the comet? He asked them. Mr. Hobart was the first to respond. It comes around every 4 years. That would mean it would be here quite soon. But don't you worry, Jesse. It might be nasty, but if you stay inside while it's here, then you'll be alright, Miss Hobart added. That's not what I want to do, Jesse interjected. This comet could be my chance to go home. What do you mean? Jasmine replied. Mr. Grimwald, my science teacher, told me that when the comet comes, it opens up a portal that can lead to Earth. If I'm there when it happens, it can give me a chance to get back home, Jesse said. It's too dangerous, Miss Hobart exclaimed with her face growing paler than it already was. Besides, I thought this was your home. Jesse walked over to where Miss Hobart was and comforted her. Yes, this is an awesome home, but every day I miss my first home. Jesse's eyes looked towards Miss Hobart as she wiped away a tear with her tissue. I hope you understand that. Miss Hobart looked at both her husband and Jasmine before responding. Of course, we understand, but we want you to be safe. As Jasmine returned to the dining room table, she noticed the front door was left slightly open. Jesse's gone. The Hobarts left the house and went to the front of the street. It's probably best if we split up, Mr. Hobart said. Jasmine, you take the road straight ahead. I'll go left and Mom will go right. And be careful." As Jasmine continued down the street, she noticed a man in tattered clothes rummaging through a garbage can. She took a deep breath and approached him. "Excuse me, sir. Have you seen a boy walking here a few minutes ago?" Jasmine asked. "I did, but he was not walking. He was running like a wild man," the man answered gruffly. He pointed the direction Jessie went. Jasmine thanked him and continued on her way. She approached many others along the way. Some hadn't seen him, but others had, and as she went further away from the house, she grew increasingly anxious. The neighborhoods became more run down, and the people on the streets would coldly stare at her. The minutes turned into hours, and she grew colder and hungrier. Yet, she pressed on, determined to find Jessie. Then, as she looked to the end of the road she was walking on, she recognized a figure vaguely familiar. He was crouched down near a street light reading a map. As she drew near to him, she saw it was her adopted brother. "Jessie!" she shouted as she ran towards him. He looked up at her briefly and then looked down at the map again. "Are you crazy?" Jasmine asked as she sat next to him. "We're worried sick about you. You leave the house running like a madman, and all of us wander the streets looking for you. And when I finally find you, I scream out your name and all you do is look at your map. What's that all about?" "You don't understand," Jessie said as tears welled up in his eyes. "Look, I'm happy with you guys. You treat me like your family. But every night I go to sleep with a pain in my heart. I have a mom and a sister back home, and they don't know what happened to me. All this time I thought I would never see them again. But now I know there's a chance. And even if it's dangerous, I want to take that chance. I need to see them again." Jessie paused as his voice became shaky. "I didn't want to run away, but it didn't seem like your parents would let me go." "They're just trying to protect you," Jasmine said. "I know, but I gotta do this." Jessie then looked down towards his map. "Okay, little buddy, I'm with you," Jasmine responded in a soft voice. "By the way, what's this for?" she asked as she pointed to his map. "I'm looking for Mr. Grimwald's house, and for some reason, I can't find it here. But I know I'm close." "Show me the address," Jasmine said. Jessie pulled out a slip of paper and handed it to Jasmine. She laughed as she read it. "That's teacher's writing, all right. It can be even worse than doctor's writing." She pointed to the first digit. "See, that's a 7, not a 1. You're about 6 blocks away." Jasmine stood up and offered her hand to Jessie. "Let's go before it gets super late." As Jasmine pulled Jessie up, he dusted off his pants and they began walking towards Mr. Grimwald's house. As they continued down the streetlights no longer brightened their path. As they neared the house, they heard wolves howl in the distance. Jessie pointed towards Mr. Grimwald's house. With each step forward, growls became louder in the nearby ditch of the road. Then, a pack of wolves appeared in front of Jasmine and Jessie. Jessie scanned the nearby houses as each of them had their lights turned off. The streets were also barren as both Jessie and Jasmine started screaming and shouting in an attempt to frighten the wolves. But their sounds only added fuel to the fire as they snarled and slowly moved closer to Jessie and Jasmine. Chapter 5. Veronica fumbled through her class presentation and sheepishly returned to her desk as her teacher continued to drone onward. Her phone buzzed and she quickly checked it. "My parents said yes. Meet me after school in the cafeteria." The bell rang and Veronica showed her message to Alina as they left the classroom. The hallways were filled with students packed like sardines. As they emptied out the doorways, Veronica and Alina made their way to the cafeteria. There they met up with Liam. "Are you ready?" Liam asked. "Yes, I've been ready my whole life," Veronica responded. Liam shot Veronica a puzzled look before motioning for them to go. They meandered through some back alleys before they reached Liam's home. They approached Liam's house. It was a beige bungalow covered with ivy neatly tucked into a neighborhood surrounded by monster houses. They approached the front door and Liam stealthily glanced left and right, making sure nobody was following him. "Are you always this paranoid?" Alina asked. "Shh," Liam whispered. "You guys wait here for a minute, okay?" Liam entered the house and closed the door. Veronica and Alina put their ears to the door to make out the conversation Liam was having with his parents, but they could only hear muffled sounds. They then heard quick footsteps approaching the door and backed away. Liam slowly opened the door. "You guys can come in now," Liam whispered again. As they entered the house, they were taken by Liam's parents to the living room. Liam's father, Jim, was tall and thin as a rake, with a 10 head instead of a 4 head with scraggly auburn hair. His mother, Martha, was equally thin and tall and didn't look a day over 30. "I didn't know you were adopted, Liam," Alina asked. Liam looked confused. "What are you talking about?" Alina held out one hand to Liam and the other to his parents as to emphasize the difference between their appearances. Liam didn't make the connection. Veronica jabbed Alina in the ribs and directed the conversation to Liam's parents. Thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Veronica then realized she didn't know their surnames. Rostengluben, Jim responded. Yes, Mr. and Mrs. Rockenbluben, for seeing us, Veronica continued. The Rostenglubens broke out in laughter as Veronica's face blushed in embarrassment. That's Rostengluben, Liam replied. Sorry, Mr. and Mrs. R. I hope Liam explained why I wanted to see you, Veronica said. Martha extended her lanky arm, motioning for the girls to have a seat. You know, we're very glad you came here. And yes, Liam told us a bit about you. Martha looked at Veronica with a somber expression. How can we help you? Veronica took the note from her pocket and passed it to the Rostenglubens. We had a fire at our house a few years ago, Veronica said as she fought back her tears. I was babysitting my brother and I left him inside. But then I went back and he was gone, she continued as the tears began flowing. They never found his body after that. Veronica reached for a box of tissues on the table near her as both Martha and Alina placed their hands on her shoulders. My mom never forgave me, and I don't blame her. I can't forgive myself either. Veronica took a deep breath as she wiped away her tears. I'm so sorry for being like this. Don't be, Martha responded. I'm sure your mother forgives you. Veronica looked into Martha's deep blue eyes. They instantly put her at ease. At school, I'm the bubbly one. But that's really a mask. There's never a day that goes by that I don't think about that terrible night. Veronica felt her grip on the tissue in her left hand tightening. And the nightmares I have are so real. Veronica slowly looked at all those in the room as they hung onto every word she said. But you know what's worse than the nightmares? What is that? Martha asked in a hushed voice. It's the sweet dreams. Tears began to stream down Veronica's face. Because they're just as real as the nightmares. In them, Jesse is there in front of me, always making that goofy face that only he can make. We laugh together, and so does my mom. Veronica paused momentarily as the words struggled to come out. I haven't seen my mom laugh in years. That must be so hard for you, Martha responded. Yes, but the hardest part is when I wake up and the dream that felt so real was just an illusion. It's like my heart is yanked out of my body, and I'm so depressed. Veronica cupped her face in her hands. But I put on a happy face and go to school. She then looked up and forced a smile. I feel like I'm fake sometimes. I don't think so. I think you're braver than you think, Martha replied. Thank you, Veronica said. Oh, and I forgot to ask you, were you able to read the note I handed you? Yes, we can read it, Martha said. Veronica furrowed her brows as she continued. Why? Most people can't. That's true, Jim responded. The only ones that can read that note are those from our world, and those for whom the note is intended, which in this case is you. So many questions buzzed in Veronica's mind that she didn't know where to begin. Who were the Rostenglubens? Where did they come from? How did they get there? How many of their people were there? Why are they here? Where was Jesse? Is he dead or alive? But above everything else, there was one question burning in her heart. Martha looked at Jim as he continued to speak. Veronica and Alina, we're here to help you. But before we continue, you must promise not to tell anyone what we talked about. Yes, Veronica and Alina responded together. Jim and Martha smiled together. Okay then, Veronica, you're probably wondering if you will ever see Jesse again. Yes, I am, Veronica responded. The smell of smoke wafted through the air. It's the lasagna, Martha responded as she ran into the kitchen. I can answer your question, Jim responded. But first, join us for dinner. Veronica smiled at Alina as they took a seat at the table. Thank you. We will. And there was yeah, we did not continue after that, from what I know of.